I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh and Angel Ortega. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, my friend and yours, Angel Ortega. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. By a lot, I mean UFC Rio going down from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, over the weekend. We also have UFC Vancouver going down this Saturday. And then we have some other stuff to discuss, some fight news and the like. As always, we're brought to you by a few sponsors of the show: Rogue Energy, ELYXR, and BetMGM. Rogue Energy keeps you filled up whether I'm at home, at the gym, or doing this podcast. If they get me to the finish line, they can help you get there as well with code SOUNDOFF at checkout. Code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Meanwhile, the ELYXR are going to get you really high with our amazing Delta 8, Delta 9 products. Once again, code SOUNDOFF when you go to the brand, all caps when you spell the brand's name, to get 10% off. Lastly, BetMGM. Guys, if you would have listened to us and thrown some money down on Charlie Olives, this deal wouldn't even been applicable to you. But if you decided to listen to some other people and throw some money down on Mateus Gamrot, you could have got up to $1,500 in bonus bets paid back if you follow the link down below to BetMGM and you signed up with them through our link. So if you guys want to take advantage of that offer for this week, there's a bunch of fights. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's obviously football. And, hey, we're just a week out from the opening tip in the NBA. Just going to say that. Your reigning Oklahoma City Thunder champs going to tip off against the Rockets. You can throw some money down on BetMGM for that as well. Once again, follow the link down below. Up to $1,500 bonus bets paid back. So if you do not hit, contact 1-800-GAMBLER if you're having any issues. Angel, it's time. It's time. Did the Duke Bronx era, did it ever end? Did it ever end? Did the Oliveira era ever end? I don't think it did. It was Charles Oliveira at the ripe age of 35 years old. He turns 36 in 2 days, brother. Gets a second-round submission win over Mateus Gamrot, extends the UFC record for most finishes, extends it for most submissions. He gets $50K on top of that. Give me your thoughts on, I guess he's not Duke Bronx anymore. I guess he's the Predator. So give me your thoughts on him getting the win.
Dude, I said it that night when we were all watching it, me and the boys. I was like, if he gets this win, this will give me the will to continue another month, man. Like it'll give me a certain level of happiness in me that I haven't had in a while. And it was such a feel good moment. It wasn't even just about it being like a good performance, but it just felt like it's what the MMA world needed, man. It healed a bit of the MMA world. It gave a bit of love to the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. It you need that little bit of hope to keep on going. And Charles Oliveira, he makes you believe. He makes you believe, man. He really does. And I really thought that he heading into this fight, I picked him obviously, and I said that I didn't really think he was gonna get the finish, but I just didn't really see a way Gamrot was gonna be able to win 3 out of 5 rounds, especially considering like he doesn't really have that offensive firepower in that sort of way. And in the end, he had some good moments, but he kept on putting himself into danger, and Oliveira got the win. Oliveira now is obviously he's about to be 36. He's one of the greatest of all time. 155 pounds is in a weird spot, and so is he. But he gets on the mic and he says, Max Holloway, I want that fight. Angel, how do you feel about a potential rematch between Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway? They obviously fought 10 years ago, August 23rd, 2015. I remember this fight very, very well. Holloway ends up winning by first round stoppage after Oliveira had a torn esophagus. So very much a freak injury. 10 years later, what do you think about them running it back?
Well, look, the night of, I remember that was the first thing I said. I was like, I feel like the fight to make now is Max versus I was going to say Cowboy Oliveira. He was in attendance, by the way. He was there against Charles Oliveira.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I love the idea of that fight. I think 155 pounds is in a weird spot, obviously, right now. Like, obviously, if Ilya is the champ, it looks like he's gonna fight Gaethje, which feels like somewhat of a squash match, if I'm being honest. But It is a big fight. It'd be a big fight for them to kick off the Paramount era. You have Armand taking on Hooker. That's 2 versus 6 at some point soon. You know, they still have Islam Makhachev in the rankings for some fucking reason. It's just it's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, I like the sound of that fight. I mean, I think it's a weird thing right now. Max is in a really weird spot because obviously he lost to Ilya at 145. Ilya is now the 155-pound champ. You'd want to move down to 145. Who's the champion there? Volkanovski. So Holloway's in a weird spot. I love that fight though. It was a freak accident that happened 10 years ago. I know some people didn't watch that fight and they're like, yeah, dude, I'm sure it was an injury. No, watch that fight, bro. It was a really weird sequence. And he ended up just losing in the first. So it is what it is. On the other side for Gamrot, I don't think there's a lot to really say here. He stepped up. It's another time he stepped up and he's had another loss. I mean, what can you really say about it, man?
I don't know. I think for him going forward, he's still in the mix of those top, call it 8 fighters.
Yeah.
So he could still get a major fight. Who that'll be against, I really don't know. Just because of the way the division's going, because Oliveira got this win, Max obviously is really aiming at getting those big time opponents. We know Saryukin's booked against Hooker at this point, so I don't know. He might have to fight down. Might have, I think Fiziev, maybe Fiziev. Wasn't that a potential matchup at one point that never happened?
I think so. Well, actually, I feel like didn't they?
Yeah, he
Isn't
did.
that the fight
That
that?
was a leg injury. I think it'd be time to run.
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
back.
gonna say. I was like, yeah, I'd be down with that. Yeah.
Yeah, Fiziev. He stepped in for Fiziev on this one. It was supposed to be Fiziev and Oliveira originally. Look, I don't know why Fiziev was out for this fight. I can't remember, but it kind of seems like a pretty good time to do it. They're both around
Yeah.
a similar place, I'd say, in the division. Kind of both meddling in that kind of mid pack area. With a win there, one kind of gets pushed through a little bit. Obviously, it sets one of them back kind of majorly, I think, but I kind of feel like that's the direction you kind of have to go.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I think that you know, that's a good fight. We didn't really get a good conclusion the first time around. I think it makes sense. Gamrot's in that, like you said, in that kind of weird 8 to 9 top guys spot. You know, like I don't think he's good enough to really break into the top 5, but I also think he's too good to be out of the top 10. So yeah, I mean, I like that fight. I'd be down with it. As far as the rest of the card, dude, I gotta be honest with you, this co-main event, another really feel good moment. Obviously, wasn't as feel good. He didn't get the finish. You know, you could argue it was more controversial. It was a split decision.
The fight was kind of
You
cheap. So
know,
call it as it is.
the fight sucked. But outside of all of that, Davidson Figueroa getting the win. I love seeing the old guys get the win. Davidson Figueroa is going to be 38 in 2 months at 135 pounds, and he's still finding a way to beat guys like Montel Jackson, who are young cats on the rise. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Man, look, I had said it last week. I was like, look, I have a lot of questions going into this one because of how bad Davison did look. Like, I was like, there's gonna have to be some drastic changes for me to have like any faith picking him forward. And look, he had come out. I guess he had had an injury. He had some sort of sickness. Obviously, it was just obviously the weight cutting process wasn't easy at all. Obviously, he's an older fighter, so obviously having all that kind of preparation and kind of have everything kind of go the right way is very important for him to have, like, going into big fights or any fight at this point going forward in his career. So obviously everything that did happen was true. I think for any, if anything, the narrative of this one is like, for me, it was Montel Jackson like not stepping up. It's like, look, you were the number, what was it, like 15th ranked guy coming into this, getting an opportunity against a whatever Davison was at the time. Let's see here. Let me look at it real quick. Where is he? Where'd they have him? Number 6 fighter in the division. Like, this was your opportunity to kind of showcase yourself and not even just that, but go into the Lions Den in Brazil, and you kind of give us a shit show. Like, it was such a
Yeah.
sad. There was not much for me to take from this performance that's redeeming from Montel Jackson. There's more redeeming things from this performance that you can take from Davison, but there's like next to nothing that you can take away from Montel Jackson. He was a taller guy. He was a younger guy. He had the bigger hands, even, like, literally had some of the biggest hands, and none of that mattered. It didn't. And in the moments he did kind of let go, we kind of do some things like, yeah, it seemed good, but in the end, it wasn't enough to get him a decision. And even then, he almost skidded by getting a split, you know? And it very much
Yeah.
would have been like, it would have been very much a I got by moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. This is kind of a weird fight for me personally. I mean, I was disappointed with Montel Jackson. I thought he had more to offer. Um, just kind of weird, man. I mean, I'll say the fight itself wasn't very good, and I think when you have like kind of fights like that, it's kind of hard to draw conclusions away from that. As far as Figgy, man, I will say I like the moment. I thought it was a feel good moment at 38, and I think we'd seen him in his last two fights suffer losses in pretty dramatic fashion against like elite competition. So I kind of thought, this is looked like he was probably more washed than he actually was. This was not a great fight, but at the end of the day, he still pulled it out. So good stuff for Figgy. Hopefully, he can keep it rolling. I think we just move one down, man. I mean, Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez has arrived at 170 pounds, my man. El Fenomeno, the phenomenon, out of Spain, 6'3", 170, gets the unanimous decision win over Vicente Luque. Give me your thoughts on that one, man. We've been talking up this guy for a long time, and now he's finally in the weight class it looks like he should be.
I mean, he did good. I didn't have going into this fight. There wasn't any doubts in my head that he would win this fight. I expected to finish. I think that was a big shock for everybody for this fight to go to distance. I actually put down a spicy little parlay and had him over 1.5. They ended up hitting. Might have dropped the ball on Figgy Montel Jackson, as you guys know from my last week's picks. But it is what it is. So I mean, going forward in the division, I'm curious to see how he does. I mean, they gave him a guy who's a very established, long-time vet at one point in time, like yours, and even for me at times, the dark horse of this division. But I mean, let's say it as it is. I mean, the guy had a brain bleed scare. He's taken a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
His last win was a unranked Themba Garimbo, who I like the guy, but even then, like, I know he has these. I know that he's a level below, and he needs to do some major thing to break through to put him as a relevant ranked fighter or as one of these top guys potentially in the UFC. And he's not that yet, and maybe he can be one day. But even looking back before that, it's an ancient RDA, back in
Mm-hmm.
back in 2023. We're talking about his last win against kind of a name being 2 years ago, and even before that, you got to go back to 2021, and it's Michael Chiesa, So,
Mm-hmm.
and we're pushing it. I mean, this was a fight that Joel Alvarez, in my eyes, was supposed to win and needed to win to kind of get his establish himself in this 170 in this very competitive and very filled 170 division. So hopefully for him, they set him up against a ranked 170er next. And I don't know how he's gonna do it, but dude, I'm even get him in with D-Rod, Jeff Neal, Colby Covington. Like, I think those are all Gilbert Burns, even, which another Brazilian, but and some of these guys are older, but hey, I mean, you have this guy who isn't, he's not, listen, and we also need to say this, he's not like some young 29, 28-year-old peaking. He's 32 years old, 7 months and 1 week. I'm looking at topology, so that's how I know it specifically. Like,
Okay.
he has a, I know, right? You're like, damn, he just pulled that stat off his head.
It's just damn, who's really done his research this week?
No. But I mean, he has a window, and it's not as big as we think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, obviously we have, beating Luque isn't like the greatest thing in the year of our Lord 2025 for all the reasons you stated. I mean, we just saw Kevin Holland kind of run through him a few months ago, and Kevin Holland looks to be a little bit washed in his own right. But at the same time, though, man, I still think this guy's got potential. He's 32. He's hitting his stride at the right time. 4 wins in a row. And now maybe because he's out of weight class he should actually be in, maybe he'll be more active. That would be nice. And you got to remember, he stepped in here on short notice as well. That's another side of it too. So he was not originally set for this, originally not supposed to be at 170, but if he's going to stay here, and it seems like he's wanted to move to 170 for a while, but the UFC just has not let him, this is a good win to kind of establish your name in the weight class with, I think. As far as the rest of the card, though, man, I mean, you take a look, there's some other highlights. Mario Pinto, Johnson Denise, solid knockout win by him. Con Alfie submitting Ricardo Ramos, love that. Love me some Con Alfie. Michael Aswell getting a solid win. Vito Petrino picking up a solid win. Jalil Filo picking up a solid win. How about Beatriz Mesquita defeating Arena Latsiva? Are you a Beatriz Mesquita fan?
She looked good. I mean, she looked solid. Definitely a lot of potential.
Yeah.
34
It's very
though.
solid on the match.
So I don't know how much time. I don't know how much she has. She has a small window too.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's true. At the same time, though, I think, and we've talked about this a little bit, I think women's MMA, just anecdotally, it feels like they have a longer window
That's true.
than a lot of the men do.
Also,
but
it's 135. That's the
yeah,
big thing for her, right? Like it's 135.
yeah, exactly. I agree. Um, anyways, man, take a look down. Lucas Brosher defeating Stuart Nickel. And then Julia Polistera defeating Karolina Kokavich. This has to be it for Karolina. And I'm not trying to be mean. It's her birthday today, so shout out Karolina Kokavich. Did not know that until I checked the wiki right now. And look, she has made the most of her career that I can say as somebody who was around when she debuted. I did not expect her to still be in this game. She seemed to not really have a lot of attributes that made her super talented back when she first debuted, outside of just toughness and a willing to go forward. She still, didn't really have much punching power, but at the same time, she was able to succeed in spite of all that. But Angel, I mean, I'm sure you're agreeing with this. It's time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, granted, who knows her financial situation, but I don't think she doesn't need to fight anymore. And she's after this fight, by the way, she's officially negative in the UFC. She's 9-10 now. So there's also that,
which is crazy. Yeah, because I mean, she had that crazy run to fight Joanna, I remember, and then she also had that 4 or 5 winning streak a few years back. Like, kind of crazy in hindsight, but also I did not. When you say it out loud, that's 19 UFC fights. That's kind of crazy for her to even begin with.
Oh yeah.
But nonetheless, man, I think we should move on, man. I think we should move on because we do have another UFC card this week going down Saturday night. Rogers Arena. They're going to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. We're going back to Canada, boys. And we do have, in my opinion, a pretty solid card. It's nothing crazy, but I think it's pretty fun. In the main event, Renee de Ridder, ranked number 4, the Dutch Knight. 21-2 is the record, coming off a split decision win over Robert the Reaper Whitaker in July. Admittedly, I thought he lost that fight. But outside of that, though, he still does have an excellent UFC resume. Bo Nickel, Kevin Holland, Jared Machart, so on and so forth. Taking on Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen, all in my opinion, always the overlooked guy at 185. Even during that super long win streak from 2022 to late 2024, I felt like he was overlooked. I feel like he wasn't being discussed in the same way that a lot of those other guys on the rise were. And I guess you could argue why, because then he did lose to Nasruddin in a fight where they kind of let slip away from him. And then Anthony Hernandez, who kind of just came through and ended up, besting him over 3 rounds. Nonetheless, though, man, this is an interesting fight. It is short notice for Brendan Allen. According to the current line from our friends over at BetMGM, Brendan Allen coming in as a plus 170 underdog. Renee de Ridder coming back minus 210. Winner here could, I wouldn't say will, but theoretically in the realm for a title shot. What do you think, Angel?
No, I mean I'm definitely in agreement with that. I mean, as far as the fight itself, look, it's a fucking hard one. I genuinely do think that Allen has a great chance, especially after his last performance. He looked great against Vittoria. I mean, at least for me personally, as far as like just strictly on the feet, I think that's the best Allen had ever looked. He looked confident. He looked sure of himself. He came forward. He was assertive. He established himself in that fight. He did what he wanted to do. Granted, though, afterwards, I think even beforehand, I posed the questions. So I was like, Vittoria's coming from having a tragedy in his life. I don't know if he should be fighting. I don't know how well his camp could have been, how focused he is, but I feel like that could have definitely been a factor in the performance. And granted, that's just me speculating. But I mean, granted, dude, who wouldn't be not mentally all there after losing someone the way he did? But I don't want to diminish Allen's win at all. But it is just a factor in there. And as far as RDR, let's say it, he skidded by last time too. Like he got the win, but he did get by,
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully he takes advantage of that, because now if he wins this, I mean, he's right up there. He's definitely like next in line to be potentially for a title shot. If it's not him, then it's Nazarian Imavov. And then there's really no debate about it. I mean, those are the two only choices, unless they do some crazy title eliminator between the both of them, but I doubt it. I'm gonna have to go RDR, man. I mean, he's looking good. I think he's actually surprised me. I think he's over exceeded my expectations. Allen's coming in here on short notice. I know Allen has obviously is splendid on the ground and talented, but I do think RDR is better. I think on the
Yeah.
feet, I think the RDR is willing to get into those exchanges, and when that happens, I think his physicality and the kind of presence he has will definitely show out there. For Brendan, I mean, look, I think if he wants to have a lot of success on this fight, he's gonna definitely keeping it on the feet, avoiding the ground, trying to fight out of those clinch positions if he does get into them, especially against the cage, and hopefully be physical in there and don't allow RDR to overwhelm you.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with all that you said. I think it's kind of a weird fight for me. I feel like I don't know, man. Admittedly, I kind of wanted to come in here and pick Brendan Allen. I kind of felt like coming in here and picking the dog, and I do think there's a fight he could win. In fact, I see why he took this one. I think, I think Rene Ritter is better on the mat. I think Brendan Allen could probably keep up with him though, and I think he gets himself into positions that even though he may not be better than the guy who he's with on the mat, he just knows how to excel in certain spots. Does that make sense? And we see him when he's all in the back. If he can find his way to your back, you're done, dude. I mean, the guy's so good. He's so slick. He's so explosive, both on the feet and on the mat. Same time though, it's short notice. RDR is coming off a 5-round fight. Brendan Allen doesn't have as much experience in that sort of thing. Not to say that he has not gone the 5 rounds. I mean, he's done it, I believe, once in his UFC career. In that fight with, I want to say, Chris Curtis. It was that one. Admittedly, I thought he lost that fight, funnily enough. But yeah, I'm going to take Rene Ritter. But I will say, don't be surprised, man, if Brendan Allen comes through here and just rocks his shit and at one point during the fight and ends up pulling off a win, man. I've always thought he's been so disrespected. I think he's so explosive. I think he has multiple ways to win, but I do think Rene Ritter, strong chin. Gasting, not the best, but I think that he showed against Robert Whittaker over the course of 5 rounds that he can stay in there, that he can find a way to make it work. And I think he's going to find a way to make it work against Brendan Allen on Saturday. I think I'm going to pick Rene Ritter, probably by unanimous decision, honestly. I don't think he's going to get the finish in there, but we'll see. Should be a fun fight regardless, though. And like I said, when you're here in the running for a title shot, not guaranteed. There's a lot of names at the top of 185 right now, but presumably in the running. Let's move on down, man, because this main card is honestly sick. I really like the main card a lot as a whole, and that includes the co-main event. Not necessarily because these guys are going to be fighting for a UFC title anytime soon, but it should be a lot of fun. Kevin Holland, I mentioned earlier, he does look a little bit past his best. He is going on his, good Lord, his 5th fight of the year. 5th fight of the year. He opened up the year with a loss to Rene Ritter. He beat Gunnar Nelson. He beat Vicente Luque, and then he lost to Daniel Rodriguez in July, back at UFC 318. Well, man, he's coming back here against Canada's finest, Canada's maybe best male prospects. I mean, we kind of know they've actually got a few ladies coming through here, but in terms of the males, Mike Malott is probably their best man, 12-2-1. He is outside of the loss to Neil Magny, undefeated in the UFC, hasn't beat a lot of great names, Mickey Gall, Adam Fugic, Charles Radke, Trevin Giles, but still seems to be a fun guy, has some skills on the feet, hits hard. What do you make of this fight, man? Who do you got?
I feel like Kevin Holland, man. I feel like if he's at his normal form, I should say, I wouldn't even say peak, at his normal form, he should beat Mike Malott. Malott has looked good. He was a good prop. He had a peak prospect moment and faltered. But I mean, call it as it is, man. His last win was Charles Slur Radke. It's a
Yep,
win we need to get. The Trevin Giles one good, but I don't know if he's one of those guys who is gonna break through. I think he needs to. Like, this is the fight. You know what I mean? If he's gonna ever get into the rankings and he's ever gonna be ranked 170, it needs to be now. Because after this one, if he doesn't get it on this one, or at least make it very competitive, shows some good stuff, looks good, then he might just be one of those guys that turns into just out of the 170, or maybe will be in and out. Maybe he'll sneak into the 15th and 14th, but maybe never over never exceed expectations.
Mhm. Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it. I think Mike Malot's kind of an interesting cat, man. I think he's I don't know, man. He's been around the game for a long time. Like I think sometimes for people don't even know this. He actually, whenever he first started, he was actually like more of a coach than a fighter himself. He worked at Team Alpha Male back like in the 2017, like all the way back then. He was coaching in the corner of guys like Cody Garbrandt, in the corner of guys like Uriah Faber. He's been around the game for a long time. But I do think Kevin Holland is such a weird guy to predict. I hate picking anything Kevin Holland. Um, God. And you know what the thing is too is like I was a believer in Mike Malott, but that Neil Magny thing fucked me up so bad. I don't think I could pick him to win a high level fight ever again until he does. So I'm gonna pick Kevin Holland. That Neil Magny fight, yeah, he had like 10-8 rounds, but then he gassed out so badly he lost in the third. Like it was brutal. So I'm gonna take Kevin Holland here very, very hesitantly.
Should this be upset potential watch? Like, should we have this shit on lock? Like, looking like this might actually be like
this is definitely upset potential. Like there's high upset watch here because I mean, man, both these guys are so like they're so beatable. You know what I mean? Like both of them. So I kind of like I'm picking. I think Mike Malott might be better than Kevin Holland, but Kevin Holland is so explosive and so weird and gets into these wacky wars where Mike Malott's not been in that. You know, he's only 14 fights deep. So I don't know, man. Yeah, it's a weird fight.
I would say I just looked at the fight odds, and this is via BetMGM. Mike Malott is a slight favorite, a -115 to Kevin's -105. I'm sure these lines are going to move because it's still early in the week. Things could definitely change. It could shift. It could just stay even the whole week.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm not surprised the odds are close on this one. I'll say that. This is like I said, both guys are extremely beatable here, but we'll see. Anyways, man, we're gonna go ahead and move down because, like I said, honestly, this whole main card is really, really solid. We could just run them one after the other. I mean, Marlon Cheeto Vera, Ayman Zahabi. I don't know how good Ayman Zahabi is, but I've kind of enjoyed this little run. I did think he lost to Jose Aldo, but the fact that he's a damn near 38-year-old, featherweight who's just now bantamweight who's just now kind of like getting into the run. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's kind of fun. You have somebody peaking so late in their career. Manny Farrow taking on Jasmine Jasovicius. I like that. Cody Gibson or Aori Quilling. Neither one of these guys are that like crazy good or anything, but it should be a really, really fun fight. Yeah, Kyle Nelson, Matt Favola. I mean, what fights are you most looking forward to on this one, man? I think it's pretty deep, honestly, for a fight night.
For a fight night? Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, those pretty much that whole main card. I mean, you could almost, dude, if you get like a big name into that and maybe slot out one of those fights on the main card, you have a pretty solid pay-per-view, I'd say. Like, no joke.
Yeah.
You know, keep like maybe you'd push out Cody Gibson and the Chinese fighter whose name I do not want to try to pronounce right now, or even Kyle Nelson, Matt Favola. Pick your poison and then get in whatever X big name fighters you want to get in there to make it a pay-per-view. And I'd say that'd be worth your money in my opinion. Dude, this is probably the most under the radar kind of win streak right now is Davy Grant. 39-year-old bantamweight Davy Grant. Look, he does have a split loss in his last 5 fights, but before that it was a finish win via Luis Smoka, a inverted triangle choke finish over one of my favorite bantamweights of all time, Rafael Assunção. And in that same year, 2023, that he got that win, he had a split over undefeated, I don't think no longer undefeated, Daniel Marcos. But after that, a win over Montavares, a win over Damon Blackshear, and now he's trying to get one over Charles Jourdain. I mean, look, Unk might have to sneak into the rankings after one. He's going to turn 40 in December and potentially be in the mix at the bottom end of 135. Granted, I don't know how much he could really do, but just the fact that he's kind of making something out of not much at one point is kind of awesome.
Yeah, man. I think I'm really happy you highlighted him. I think Davey Grant is one of those guys at 39 years old that similar to. I mean, I just mentioned him in Ahmed Zahabi. Like, it's something so cool about seeing these guys peak so late. Now, granted, Davey Grant, like, I don't know if he's peaking. Like, he's always been like a pretty decent guy. Like, even go back to his UC debut back in 2013. Like, he did make. Like he was there for a reason, man. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. He made to the finale. He beat Cheeto Vera. He beat Jonathan Martinez. He beat shout out Luis Smolka back in the day. Shout out Rafael Assunção. Like he actually has a really decent resume. And if he beats Charles Jourdain, that's actually a really big win for him. Like Charles Jourdain has kind of been struggling over the last year or two, but like that, he's still a really big name in terms of guys outside of the top 15. So that'd be a big one for him. I like that fight. I like Bruno Gustavo da Silva taking on Park Chan-sung. I like that a lot. That's a really fun fight at 125 pounds. Shout out Kyle Prolachek taking on Drew Dober. Shout out Kyle Prolachek on his second UC run.
Allow that fight, dude? That fight feels like it should not be made. Like that feels illegal to me.
It feels like they're trying to kill this guy, but I'm excited to see if he could do anything.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, here, wait, let me look at these odds.
They gave him BSD and now Drew Dober back to back, but Drew Dober's been knocked out 4 of his last 5 fights, so it's like.
Dude, Dober's still a minus 550, just so you know.
Which is kind of crazy
and Kyle
when you think about it.
Is a plus 400. But, I mean, do you think Kyle Provolek has any sort of winning?
No, I don't. I mean, Drew Dober's been murked a lot lately. So this could be a good get back for him, but at the same time, he is.
Dude, if the plus
400. He's going to turn 37 in 4 days, dude. Just saying, the odds wise is a little bit surprised.
I mean, I don't know, dude.
All right. And we don't gotta agree, brother.
Look, I can't pull it up, but I almost wonder what the Kyle Provolek finish prop is on this shit. I don't think I can pull it up here on Best Fight Odds. It shows everything, but I want to, I'm trying to get the BetMGM one to be exact. Oh, here we go. Actually, I think I actually figured out how to look at it. Let me see. Provolek. Win by submission. Wins by KO or TKO is plus 700.
Wow.
Dober is actually plus 100 to win by KO. I might have to take that. That's actually kind of spicy right there.
Very, very spicy. Jokes aside, man, I think that's basically it for. Well, actually, I don't know if I highlighted that. There's one guy left to highlight, Osman Bekov. I don't know if you mentioned him, but I did not highlight him. I mean, yeah, really solid guy. I mean, he's won 7 in a row out of Russia. Just dominated Ryan Loder in his debut. Not his debut, excuse me. Last time out, knocked out Zach Reeser this year in his UC debut. Former LFA champion. Should be a fun guy. Taking on Yassiri Beligwe out of Tunisia. Former kickboxer. Should be a really fun one. This is on the early prelims, so be sure to tune in for that one.
I do kind of think it's weird that they put him on the early prelims like that, especially because this is one of Poeton's training, one of Poeton's former opponents, and now training partner.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. But I mean, I don't know, man. They do try to do this sometimes where they'll bring in guys to the early prelims to try and get those eyes on the early prelims, and it feels like a punishment, but the UC doesn't really always think of it that way. No. But anyways, man. I believe that's it for the preview. But we do have a couple other things to discuss here on the docket, and one of them. UFC 323. Dana White going out on the table. He's just dropped his balls right on. I mean, what else can you say? He's like, dude, just look at my fights. Look at them. Look at these fights. Open up the chat. What's up, guys? It's fuck it Friday. And on UFC 323, we have Murad Dvalishvili and Peter Yan. We also have Alexander Pantoja, Joshua Van, Jan Blachowicz, Bogdan Geskov, and Henry Cejudo, Peyton Talbot. There's a bunch of other fights which I have a link to the card, but not formally announced. But those are the 4 officially announced, I believe, as of now. Dude, I mean, this is some WWE shit. I mean, I do like the fight. It is mind-blowing that they're letting Merab fight so quickly. Merab actually was being interviewed by Ariel Helwani at the exact time that the UFC announced these fights. And, Ariel asked him, like, oh, did you know about that? He's like, nah, I had no idea. And now, granted, he'd been calling for it. So it's not like it came completely out of the blue, but still, just insanity. Angel, give me your thoughts on this fight card set for December in Las Vegas.
I mean, like, I know obviously we're not going to preview them, but I think we should go through most of them and kind of talk about like the matchmaking. I mean, look, Piotr Jan, I said it. It might have been even last week. It's funny that we were just like talking about this. It's actually kind of insane in hindsight. Look, if Merab is down to fight, I respect the UFC for giving him a fight. It's just, to me, I'll watch the fight, but I don't have like a crazy amount of interest, and I'm not going into this fight being like, I think that Piotr has a chance. At one point in time, I did. I actually was so confident they would. I mean, dude, I'm sure you guys can go back to that podcast whenever they originally fought. But I was like definitively sure that Peter Yan was going to win that fight, and he didn't. And it was the most mind blowing thing to me in the moment, like him just getting dominated and taken down like that over and over again. And that, I believe that was in that smaller venue they did at a casino, right? Which was kind of a vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was kind of a vibe. So, and also, I mean, I can't really hate on the UFC because I really don't know who else you could have gone. You know what I mean? You probably would have had to wait for that Umar Mario Bautista fight to happen, and then that would have been it. And ideally in that universe, you're kind of hoping more for a Bautista win than an Umar win, just to get like some like new look. But I guess this is what we get, and I'm gonna have to be okay with it. And I mean, credit to Merab, he's kind of clearing out the division, and and we said it last time, he's hitting the rematch point. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. I mean, it's a weird fight. It's a weird fight. I mean, it's a weird situation. Like even that first fight, like you said, if you want to go back to March 2023, that was the theater at the Virgin Hotels. Just over 2,300 people packed in that mother, and they made a lot of noise, man. It was a fun night, and I remember thinking, like, God, the UFC really needs to do this more. This felt like an old school UFC card because, like, the UFC used to do this in Vegas all the time. They would put little fight nights at those hotels, and then they just stopped doing it. And then, yeah, really unfortunate. They've been in the Apex and nothing really happens, which sucks. And there's no real, noise. And yeah, I don't know. So it's a weird fight. I think that the fact that Peter Yan has won a few in a row, obviously if there's a guy that deserves it, it'd probably be him. But then you look at it's like, Song Yong's good, but he hasn't really been proven in the top 5 level. Deuce Figueroa does look pretty washed, and Marcus McGee, who was never, as much as I like the guy in his story, never top 10 even McGee. So it's kind of a weird fight in that way. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that Peter Yan's going to get the fight. Good for Merab to stay active. But the real main event is Alexander Pantoja's Joshua Bain, in my opinion. That's an unreal fight. I've wanted that fight for a while now. As has everybody, to be entirely fair. Joshua Bain is just an absolute savage. He's 24 now. He just turned 24, which is insane to think about. But here we go, man. Love that fight. Then also Henry Cejudo, Peyton Talbot. I like that one a lot too, man. That's such an interesting, compelling fight. That's one I was not thinking about, but I guess it makes sense. Peyton's not ranked, but Henry's number 10. He's lost 3 in a row. I love that fight a lot. Yeah, man. I know that you're not as high on this card as I am, but I actually love of the fights that are announced. I actually really like it. Maybe not Merab Piotr, but everything else.
I mean, I'll watch it. It's just some of the matchmaking just seems very like puzzling to me. Like they can do it. Like I said, I think the best matchmaking on this card was Pantoja Van, but we kind of knew that was kind of a guarantee. The Macy Barber Kareem Silva fight feels a little odd because we're going from Macy being originally scheduled to fight Erin Blanchfield, and that fight didn't happen. Obviously, she had that horrific weight cut, and then she passed out. I can't remember, and it was the one where she didn't walk out on, if I remember right. Like Blanchfield walked out, and then that was it. And then she was also supposed to fight Rose last year, and now she's fighting Kareem Silva, which is kind of like we went from having those 2 big name fights to now Kareem Silva. It feels a little weird to me, but timing and obviously things didn't line up for her to fight any of those other guys. It is what it is. As far as Cejudo and Talbot, I mean, you can do it, but like, why are we doing it? You know what I mean? That's my whole kind of thing. It's such a fucking thing. I mean, I guess they could get away with it, but you're giving a completely unranked guy who has looked good, but has shown some holes and definitely needs to continue to develop and is far from peaking, in my opinion. to just throw
Mhm.
him into number 10, number ranked 10 Henry Cejudo.
Yeah.
And granted, it worked out for them earlier this year when they did that with David, or like it would have been like a month ago now with David Martinez. It panned out. Martinez looked great when he beat Font, but
Mhm.
I don't know if it's gonna work out here with Payne and Talbot. You can, but I don't know. Did Dana announce all
Yeah.
the other stuff that I've seen going around, like the potential Brandon Moreno fight and
I
McKinney
don't
Duncan?
believe so. I believe that. So McKinney Duncan was announced by McKinney, but yeah, the other ones have not been announced. I believe those have been reported, but
Yeah,
not if like official yet.
and Blahovic Guskov. I mean, that they did say that one, right?
I thought they said that one.
Well, yeah, and as far as that one, I mean, that seems. I think at this point in time, like a perfect matchmaking. You're trying to push up the younger cat, get the older guy out of there, and it's a winnable fight. Funny enough, dude, like I think every matchup right now, until like Blahovic like starts just getting deaded, like I think he could win pretty much against anybody in that division.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, man. Um, as far as in other news though, man, I feel like we could probably move on because this was a solid card, but it was not. Excuse me, this is a solid card, but it's not anything. But we're going to be previewing in less than 2 months. That's kind of the whole thing about it. Nonetheless, there's not really a lot of other news, honestly. It's been kind of a slow week outside of that. Um, but in terms of other stuff going on, did you see that? Oh man, I just had it up here. They're killing me. Twitter is killing me, Angel.
Killing me, Smalls. Killing me.
They're killing me, bro. They're killing me. Um. Oh man, can't find. Oh, hold on. Okay. Did you see that apparently we're going to be getting Sean Brady? There's really only a fight announced to go over. Sean Brady, Michael Morales, UC 322, November 15th in MSG. They're going to continue building up that card. What do you make about that one
I fuck with it.
at 170?
I like it. I
Yeah.
mean, it feels like Brady probably should have fought like a Ian Gary type. You know what I mean? Shock fought, even
Yeah.
maybe a guy like
Yeah.
that. But I like it. I do feel some type of way about it because I know if one of those guys loses, it's just going to be heartbreaking to me because it's like, man, I want to continue to see. At least for Brady, I felt like he was next up. He just needed to get that push. You know what I mean? For Morales, he's young
Yeah.
and up and coming. He's trying to get these big name fights. He just needs to fight. He just needs to get the opportunities, and he's getting it. But it's just I don't know. I just hate seeing these guys lose. You know me. I get attached to all these guys.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I completely agree.
Well, so Brady's
I don't know.
2.
I
I'm
like the
looking at that
fight.
right now. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that Brady's number 2 right now. Like this is
It's mind blowing. Yeah.
what the fuck? That's actually insane. That like changes that completely for me. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a super risky fight. I mean, I respect Brady the fuck out of that for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I respect the fuck out of him. Good for Sean Brady's a real dog. So love that. Um, I don't have too much to say because obviously it's another one that we're going to be previewing soon. So it's kind of unfortunate that all the fights are getting out so quickly in succession. But regardless, this is the only other thing we have left to discuss, in my opinion. So BKFC had a card, obviously this past week. We didn't actually preview it because I don't know what we could really. I mean, it was another shit show. BKFC event. It had Jeremy Stevens, Mike Platinum Perry. This was early this month. Mike Perry dominated him. Unsurprising because I mean, when you think about it, it's like Mike Perry, Jeremy Stevens. Those guys are kind of when you think about it, they're very similar. And then you remember, oh wait a minute, Mike Perry fights at like 170, like at 185. Like Jeremy Stevens spent most of his career at 145, dude. Like there was a big size difference. Mike dropped him like 5 times, dominated on that card. Was supposed to be the return of Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar, 43. The answer is about as washed as I've seen a fighter in a long time. I say that, lovingly. I love Frankie Edgar's a legend, but I mean, he did look washed to the heavens whenever he did retire from the UFC back in November 2022. Nonetheless, he was supposed to fight on this BKFC card. He got pulled due to medical reasons. And that sounded about right to me, Angel. And I thought that's where the story was going to end. Frank Edgar came out this week and said, nah, man, I talked to the commission. I passed my medicals. I did all the stuff. I did all the promotion they wanted of me. They didn't have my money. So, Angel, what do you make about this whole scandal? It's kind of unraveling right now. He went on the Air Hawani show yesterday, talked about it. Give me your thoughts on this whole situation because it's a really, I mean, for BKFC, there's not a lot of stuff that's a good look, but this is a really bad one.
Did they want him to fight before, like, despite them not having his money and saying the money would be promised after? Or it was just like they didn't have the money and they're like, hey, we don't have your money. Obviously, we don't want you to fight or you can't fight because we won't be able to pay you.
So here's what happened. According to Frankie Edgar and what I've read, he signed up. BKFC approached him. They're like, we need a big star for this New York card. Do you want to come out of retirement? And he's like, how much money are you offering? They came back with an offer. He's like, sure, I'll do that. And I'll do all the promotion and stuff and etc. that I got to do, you know? Yeah. Well, it gets to fight week. And then on like Friday, they pull it. Like BKFC did. And they said the commission told them that Frankie didn't pass his medicals. And then Frankie told Helwani that he went to commission and he talked to them and they said, yeah, you're good to go. Like you passed your medicals. We don't know what's going on. So Frankie said that he heard from somebody else behind the scenes that they don't have the money to even pay it.
I mean, they could have been transparent with that. Like, it would have been really shitty, but at least I think it's more of the honesty that's kind of fucked up in this situation. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because it's like, or they could have been like, hey, we don't have the fight money. The fight person was promised to you for you to compete. We know, and it's fucked up too because you spent money on a camp. Obviously, we'll recomp you. Like, send us receipts and we'll recomp you for your camp or whatever it may be in some capacity, or at least pay like an 80% or whatever they could, right? Like, at least come to something where they could have helped them out in some capacity, right? Because I think it's more of the being lied to than anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's just fucked up. I mean, if it's true that they approached him to get him out of retirement and then they couldn't pay him, that's pretty fucked. I mean, you can't defend that whatsoever, you know?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully, I will say that whenever I did see that Frank Edgar was not fighting, I
just assumed it was, like, health reasons, bro. Like, I was like, well, I guess something came up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm happy he's not fighting. I hope he stays retired. But if it's true that they're just stiffing people on payments. And then look, I'll say this. I know Artem Lobov, like a while ago, was like, yeah, I never, like a few months back, was like, yeah, I never got paid for my BKFC fight. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, I wonder what happened with that, you know? And then I never heard anymore. And now you have this one. It makes you wonder, man, because I feel like we've been hearing nothing but good things about BKFC for like a while now. Like, in terms of attendance, it feels like everything's kind of on the up and up in terms of like they're gaining traction, they're gaining popularity. And then you have this story, and you have like the Lobov one. It's like, oh, that's kind of shitty, man. That's kind of shitty. But anyways, man, any thoughts on that or anything else you would go and talk about before we go ahead and bounce out of here, man?
No, nothing specifically. Obviously, like, excited to come back next week. We have a pay-per-view. Is the pay-per-view after this week? Now that I'm thinking about
I believe the pay-per-view is after this week. I could be wrong, but let me double check.
Yeah. So when we come back next week to preview, we will be
That's going to be a big preview.
We're going to be previewing a pay-per-view, which, once again, and I'm sure I say this, but this feels so fast. I mean, I have no issue with it, but
yeah,
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. We get to see Tom Aspinall again to see what kind of form he's in. Obviously, Volkov competing. If he wins, I'm sure he's kind of in line to get a title shot, especially if he beats Jailton Almeida. Verna and Mackenzie Dern's going down. That title's finally getting defended. Obviously, Dern finally getting her crowning. Potentially, maybe she can get herself crowned finally as 115 champ. There's some. It's a pretty fun one. And obviously, Umar also on the main card on that one.
Yeah, dude, it's a great fight card, man. I really like it. Finally getting to see Tom Aspinall defend that gold, man. And then honestly, like I saw some people earlier this week shitting on the Jana Jaroba Dern fight, and it's like, dude, like just say you hate women, bro. It'd be easier because that's a banger, man. That's a banger. Mackenzie Dern, Jana Jaroba has earned and deserved a shot at the UFC title for a long time, brother. A long time.
Also, it's like, who else could you do, bro? Like, don't let's not kid ourselves. Who else could you really do in the state of that?
Yeah, literally. Right
Like it,
Yeah, literally, Jane Jarovda deserves it, and like they kind of got Dern has the star power, and also Dern's really fun in her own right. Like I understand that, like she has some high profile losses, but sometimes fighters do break through when you don't expect them to. Fucking Glover Teixeira became champ at 42. Like sometimes it takes people a little bit of time to break through.
TJ
It is what it is.
when
But
he got called up for his big fight.
there's another one, yeah. Like sometimes people just break through when you least expect them to. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, I mean, if you got nothing else to say, that's all for me, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the pod. At Josh Soundoff for me, at Angel Ortega _01 for my boy over here, and also at Courtside Soundoff for all things related to the show, man. Keeping it going. Big pay-per-view next week. We're gonna keep it rolling with lots of content for you guys, and also a Smashing Machine review dropping? Question mark? I mean, maybe, folks. And then also we do have some fun stuff planned. In terms of next week, so be on the lookout for that. But that's all for me. Hope you guys enjoy the fights this weekend. Peace.